guys, welcome back to Allison Unfiltered. It's another week, another day, another dollar, another, I don't know, getting up and being horizontal. Wait, no, being vertical. See, it's already been a crazy week. I can't even think straight. Um, anyway, I'm kind of excited to talk about this today because I think it sheds so much light on most of us, right? What we've been through in life and what we struggle with and what we tolerate and what we don't. And so I want to jump right into this. We've been talking about the 19 hard things I do to be successful with David John Kay. And of course, my throat's going to be crazy or something, right? As soon as I start this. So I want to just kind of recap for those of you who are just now listening. We've been talking about this for about 16 weeks now. This is week 16. There's 19 of them. So I'm just going to run through the list real quick. I do the hard things. These are the hard things that I do to be successful. I make the call I'm afraid to make. I get up earlier than I want to get up. I give more than I get in return right away. I care more about others than they care about me. I fight when I'm already injured, bloody, and sore. I feel unsure and insecure when playing it safe seems smarter. I lead when no one else is following me yet. I invest in myself even though no one else is. I look like a fool while I'm looking for answers I don't have. I grind out the details when it's easier to shrug them off. I deliver results when making excuses is an option. I search for my own explanations even when I'm told to accept the facts. I make mistakes and look like an idiot. I try and fail and try again. I run faster even though I'm out of breath. And number 16 is what we're on today is I am kind to people who have been cruel to me. Man, that is a tough one. I will tell you the first thing that comes to my mind in that, business and personal, right? But the first thing that comes to mind for me is baby daddies and baby mamas, right? These are the people that I've worked so hard to be kind to for so long and just continue to be treated cruelly even to this day. I mean, like, maybe I'll just get into some of that a little bit later. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna dive in. Screw it. I don't even care. So one of our sons Gage had a housewarming get together, him and Braden, at their new house. And mind you, he's coming up on 21, so it's been several years since I've had to deal with his father in any way, shape, or form. And he wouldn't come to his son's housewarming because I was going to be there. You know how hurtful that is to your kid? Regardless of your feelings, I am his mom. There's no way you can get around that fact. I'm his mom, and you made that baby with me. And we made a pretty awesome baby. Grow up, get some emotional intelligence, and get over yourself because it's not about you. I promise you. I don't want to be around you as much as you don't want to be around me. But the right thing to do is what's right for our child. And that's where maturity and emotional intelligence comes in. And when you can't be mature enough to be in the same room with someone you made a baby with, for the sake of that child, then you have really big problems. Same goes for the other side, for baby mamas, right? Jacob's graduation was this weekend, Friday, and we went to the graduation. There were no seats saved for us, so that's fine. We sat on our own. And afterwards, we were planning on celebrating him. It's a pretty amazing thing to graduate. And we were told that they were going to brunch. We weren't included. We weren't invited. Nothing, because she's not comfortable being in the same room with Danny and his mom. Once again, grow up, get some emotional intelligence. It's not about you. I am so sorry that you are so jealous of the life that we have. I am actually, I'm not sorry. We fought for this life that we have. We have an amazing life, and we have raised an amazing son together. Co-parenting. We have raised an amazing son. I have been with this son since he was 4 years old. So yes, I've had a huge part in raising him. And I love him like my own. His dad nor myself deserve that disrespect. It was absolutely humiliating to stand there in front of the rest of the family and be told that we weren't included, we weren't invited. Grow up, get over yourself, because all you're doing is making it hard on your kid. Like, what's going to happen when we have grandbabies? Really, seriously, what's going to happen when we have grandbabies and they have birthday parties? Are you going to do the same thing? Are you going to be that selfish and that immature? And that's the sad thing, is it all boils down to jealousy. And I don't understand it, because I've done a great job helping raise kids and raising kids. We've done a great job. We're not perfect by any means. We are not perfect. We have made mistakes along the way, but we have raised young men who are productive members of our society. They are kind, they are polite, they are good people, and we deserve, like we raised them right. So what's the problem, right? We're not bad people. We are responsible people, and we will hold you accountable for your responsibility with your child. And that's what these baby mamas and daddies don't like. Well, that's unfortunate. Get over yourself and start thinking about what is best for your child and not about you. Okay? Just trust me. Our kids do not want to be stuck in the middle of that. It is not fair. It's not okay. I will be in any room that my child wants me to be in. I don't care if my worst enemy is there. I will be there because it's what my child asked of me. Because it's not about me. It's about my child. Have I drilled that in enough? Freaking selfish assholes. Yeah, I said it. So, once again, I'm kind to people who have been cruel to me. I will be kind to your face. I will say, hey, how you doing? Glad to see you. Glad you're here. And I will move on about my merry way. I have no intentions of hanging out with you, asking you questions, or knowing anything about your life, because I don't care. But I do know how to be kind. And I do know how to be polite. And I've never really been anything but, unless you mess with my kids. Right? Did y'all feel the depth in that? Like, seriously, the depth in that? Man. And it's not just me, it's other people too, right? I mean, we have such a society of selfish people. You have babies together. Maybe you get along, maybe you don't, but man, you need to figure it out for your kids' sake. I don't understand the selfishness. I really don't. So on a business level of this, I'm going to kind of switch gears because I know that got a little rough. On a business level, I am kind to people who have been cruel to me. Well, that's part of why I'm in therapy. I actually have an appointment with her in about 30 minutes, as soon as I get done with this. So, by the way, if you're not in therapy, you should be in therapy. It's the greatest thing ever. It's so good for you. And it helps you work through things like these hard things, like dealing with people who have been so cruel to you, like for no reason other than jealousy, envy, whatever it may be. And I get it. I'm pretty blunt and straightforward, and I rub people the wrong way. But you know what? You have a choice. You have a choice. You can scroll past me. You can keep on moving. You can just walk away, right? If I'm not for you, I'm not for everybody. That's for sure. Um, but you don't have to be cruel, and you don't have to try to snub out someone else's flame because you feel inadequate, you know? So why are people cruel, right? Does it boil down to, and I would love your feedback on this, like, does it boil down to inadequacy and jealousy and envy? I deal with that in my own family sometimes. My mom and I don't have the best relationship in the world. Um, she can totally be cruel, but I can be the same way back, right? And listen, when I tell you this, I'm not saying I've never been cruel to someone. I have. I regret it. Um, it's not always easy to be the kind person. But I will tell you that therapy helps with that. Learning a lot about yourself and how to handle yourself and how to deal with your reactions and how you react to things makes a huge difference. That reaction, right? If you take the time to pause and not react, sometimes you have a better chance of not being cruel. And sometimes people think I have been cruel without me even knowing. Seriously, like I didn't even know what I said was like hurtful to them. And I guess what it boils down to is you're never going to please everybody. There's never going to be a time in your life where you're going to make every single person happy. And I've talked about this like this whole podcast. If there were a room of 200 people and there were 198 people that loved me and two of those people in that room that hated me, I would be more concerned about the two that hated me than the 198 that loved me. Why is that? It's human nature. It's human nature to want to be loved and liked and accepted. That's the biggest thing, to be accepted. Um, and I think that's why it's so hard with these baby daddies and mamas too, is because there's no acceptance when we did just as good of a job helping raise these kids and instilling things in their lives. Like there should be some appreciation, right? I'm grateful for the things that my sons' fathers have taught them to not be, right? I'm grateful for some of the things that they've picked up along the way that are good things about their fathers. I didn't I didn't love them for no reason in life one time, at one point in time, right? There was a reason. I saw some good in them, and I'm glad that my kids got those traits from them. But kindness also comes from being at a place within yourself that you are at peace. And I talk to my husband about this all the time, and I'm going to use this as an example. He's probably not going to be happy with me, but it'll be okay. Um Danny has, I don't want to say road rage, but he's not the happiest person when he drives, right? Because listen, let's face it, those of you that don't know how to get out of the right-hand lane or the left-hand lane to let people pass when they're going faster than you, it's mind-blowing, right? But I try to tell him all the time, like, you have to be kind. You don't know what that person's going through. You know, maybe they're driving home from their child's funeral and they're just lost in thought and they're not even thinking. Well, I get it. Maybe they shouldn't be on the road, but they are, right? Um, you don't know what someone's day has been like. You're not in their shoes. And so you have to be kind. You have to be kind in the grocery store. You have to be kind on the road. And listen, I'm not saying I've never flipped anybody off driving or whatever, or they haven't flipped me off or whatever. Because I can be that person, right? I can be that person where I'm lost in thought. And I don't know, have a brain fart, right? While I'm driving. Or maybe I really didn't see because my oh gosh, what is it? My distance vision, not my distance vision. Um my depth perception is terrible, okay? Terrible, terrible. And my vision is not 100% either. So, like I have I'm squirreling a little bit, but I'll get to the point. So, Danny put these little blind spot mirrors on my mirrors. And I forget that those are there, right? Because they're really small. I have a hard time seeing them. I've gotten into a better habit of using them, but they're hard to see in. And so sometimes I move into lanes and cut people off, and I don't mean to, right? And I understand it scares the shit out of them. It scares the shit out of me too. But we're all just trying to survive, y'all. We're all just trying to be human. We're all just trying to make it. We're all just trying to freaking get through another day so we can wake up tomorrow and do the same thing. I mean, yeah, we got to give everybody some grace. We got to just be kind, you know? I do it all the time in the grocery store. I am in my own world in the grocery store, my own world. And I can't tell you how many times we're at the store and I almost run into somebody or I just walk out into a lane of traffic and Danny tells the person, I'm so sorry. She doesn't know anyone exists here but her. And it's true. It's not because I'm being selfish. It's just because I'm lost in thought, thinking about what we need for dinner or what I want to make or what I need to provide for. You know what I'm saying? Some of us are just that way. So we have to give everybody grace. You know? I mean, it would be nice if everybody got out of their phones at the stoplight so that they could actually go and we could get all the traffic through the stoplight the plan is, like when they created the stoplight. I'm guilty of that myself. But that's the thing, like there's so much happening. Do you remember when we didn't have cell phones in cars? Do you remember that? Do you remember driving around with the windows down and you would be at a red light and the windows are down and your music's up and you just look over at the person next to you and just wave? I remember the funniest story. I was um I was at a light putting on my lipstick and something just told me to turn around and I turned to the side and I looked and there's this guy just like staring at me, like his windows down, everything, he's just staring at me and I'm like uh oh, oh, okay, like he was like sorry, 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 right? And then another time I was driving down the road eating a Chick-fil-A sandwich and we were stopped at a light and this guy looks over at me and like he's watching me eat this sandwich, right? And he looks really hungry. And like, I mean, I like looked over at him and I was like, I saw his face and I was like, do you want a bite? Like, are you hungry? And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It just looks really good. I was like, oh man, this is crazy. But that's the stuff we used to do. We used to pay attention to other people and be kind to other people, and everybody's just lost track of that. We're so busy, that every moment we're so addicted that every moment we get, we're in our phones, right? And if someone interrupts us, we get pissy with them. I do that with my kids. I do that with my husband. Most of the time it's because I'm working, right? We just have to be kind. Even when someone's ugly to us. Even even when someone has done the worst to you, because at the end of the day, we're all God's children. And if we're trying to be more like Jesus, then we should give some more grace, even to those that are being cruel, because you have to think about, like, why is that person being cruel? Like, I want to know why. Like, what have they been through in life to be so hateful to someone? What is missing in their life for them to feel that need to be cruel to other people, including myself? And this goes in our business as well. I love our business, but when you get a lot of women together, sometimes that's not a great place in certain situations, right? And I have triggers. I have triggers. Triggers from my childhood, triggers when it comes to alcohol and drunk people, just triggers. And that puts me in a very vulnerable position to be talked about, made fun of, given a hard time, people being cruel about it because they don't understand it, right? They haven't been where I've been or lived where I've lived. And I still have to be kind to those people, even though I've never talked to them about it, even though I've never confronted them about it. But I know they've said things behind my back about me, cruel things. I have to be kind because why? Because I want to be a better person. Because I want to be better than that. And I have learned it has taken me a really long time to get to this point in life and to learn these things. And I have learned them all the very hard way, right? Two wrongs don't make a right. It is so very true. It's so very true. Sorry for the pauses, but some of this stuff just comes to your brain and whew, it hits all at the same time. So once again, you got to be kind to people who've been cruel to you because it's the right thing to do. At the end of the day, we want to be a better person. We want to be better in the hopes that we can, for me personally, in the hopes that I can look at God one day and say, well, it wasn't all bad, right? Like, I really did try. You saw me try, right? I worked on it. So if you're having a hard time with that, work on it. It's important to work on it. It's important to work on it for you. And also being kind to people who've been cruel to you, that's also about forgiveness. You have to forgive them for yourself. Otherwise, you're just keeping yourself in a prison because I promise you, they're not even thinking about it, right? And I want to be in a place in my life where I can walk into a room and talk to anybody, regardless of how they've treated me, regardless of how they've made me feel, and be the bigger person and be able to conversate with that person and put aside those feelings so that I can be the businesswoman that I am, right? Because that's also what it boils down to is my agency. My agency is everything that I have control of in my reactions, in how I react to people and things that happen to me. And that's what I want. At the end of the day, I want to be able to walk into a room and not care about all the other stuff, but just do what I was put here to do. And that's to help inspire people and motivate people and tell people it doesn't matter where you came from or how you grew up or what you did or what you didn't do or what your past was. You can always be better. I'm living proof of that. My success story is living proof of that. My business story, my weight loss story, my life story, it's all proof of it. So if you haven't listened to all of the episodes, you should. You should go back and start at one, and then you'll probably really know who I am. Mother's Day was an interesting time. It's hard, right? Second Mother's Day without my Nana, for sure. It comes with so many different feelings, right? I have friends that have lost their moms. I still have my mom. I have friends that have lost their children. And that's another reminder on Mother's Day. Like, it's just a hard day. It's a hard day. It's a hard day for the kids even because and for the husbands because it comes with expectations. But at the end of the day, just do what you can to make this person that you love, that you make your mom feel special, you know? We're not perfect by any means, but most of us try. And if you're someone who's lost your mom, that's awful too. And if you're someone that lost a child, I can't even imagine something like that and trying to celebrate Mother's Day with other kids there too. That would just be, man, that would be hard. I'd have to compartmentalize something severe. So, Mother's Day was a good day here for the most part. Um, I got to see two of my kids. I got a text from another one, and one I didn't get to see. So, bittersweet, very bittersweet. Very grateful for those that were here, missing those that weren't. Uh, just a very bittersweet place to be for a lot of reasons, for a lot of different people. And I do want to touch on something. Um, I thought it was very interesting where God had me last Monday. Last Monday, I was in jury duty and I was on a panel. I didn't get picked for the trial, excuse me, for the jury, but I was on the panel of people they asked questions and all that. And it was a guy that was on his third or more DWI. The defense was trying to say that the police, there was no reasonable doubt or probable cause to pull him over, but it was his third or more, two previous misdemeanors as well. And he was looking at 25 years to 99 years, basically 25 to life in prison. I was okay with that. Probably not the best jury for me to be on, considering the triggers that I have in life. But I feel like my personal opinion is this: we all have our opinions. But if you have had three or more, you're a danger to society. And you need to go away until you grow up. I don't think that someone, he didn't kill somebody, so I don't think that it needs to be life, right? But, 25 years, that's a long time, right? Especially when you're in your 40s. Maybe you'll be grown up enough by then, and maybe you'll be dried out enough without the access to the alcohol so that when you do come out, you can figure out how to be a productive member of society without being drunk and getting behind the wheel and driving. It's not okay. That was a long day to sit there and listen to all of that. But I'm glad I did. I'm glad I had the opportunity to sit there and listen. I learned a whole lot. But let me tell you something. You lawyers, y'all are tricky. Y'all are tricky, tricky people out there. And it's interesting how they talked about one thing and then someone else in the panel asked a question about something. And then all of a sudden there was new stuff that came to light that the defense wasn't going to mention, right? Just interesting, tricky. Um, but it was an interesting case. And I think that, I hope they found the right jury for the guy, and I hope that he's off the streets and not given the opportunity to hurt other people. That's what I hope for. So anyway, that's it for today. I know some of that was a little rough. Some of it was hard to hear. Some of it was pretty deep. But seriously, we got to be kind to people who've been cruel to us, because how else are we going to live this life if we just go around being mad and ugly all the time? That's not a place to be. Imagine this world if we were all just kind to everybody. Boy, wouldn't that be an amazing place to be. Anyway, peace out, homies. Hope y'all have a great week. Bye.